give it to God, because like I said, he wants to do good for those who love him, and the best thing you can do for your life is to give it to him. Hi Nathan.
Hey.
What are you doing?
Just chilling.
Chilling where?
Out on our balcony.
Why?
Because... Not because I wanted to.
Because you just put our hammock up.
Let me tell you about the thought I just had.
Okay.
I just was thinking, I am so perfectly relaxed right now. I just put the hammock up, just put the shelves up in the other room.
Is there an emergency?
The wrong set of screws. So gone.
Is this the best solution to this problem?
It's a solution to the problem. Got a nice book. It's the perfect temperature out here. Going to the Super Bowl party tonight. So it's a good day. It's been a good day. Got a lot of rest today. Feel super relaxed. It's just nice.
Hi Robbie. That's our robot vacuum. This is our office. Everything's a mess right now because everything is up off the floor because we just ran the vacuum in here. But these are the shelves that Nate just put up, and they are perfectly level, and he's very proud of that. These are his over here, and these are mine, and I'm so excited to put things on them and make them look pretty. So yeah, this is our office. Maybe one day you'll see it when it looks, you know, actually nice, because it is pretty nice, but not today. Hey friends, welcome back. So I thought that today, well, Nate and I both thought that today would be a good time to share a testimony with you about what God has done in my life in the last 9 years in terms of my health journey, whatever. Hey guys, it is currently Wednesday morning before this video will be posted, and as I'm preparing to make the thumbnail and look for the keywords that I want in this video, I am feeling a lot of trepidation, a lot of fear about sharing this, but I think that it's an important story to tell because it's not my story, it's God's. And that's what I hope that you guys can get from this very long clip that's about to follow. If you listen, if you watch, I hope that you will see the way that God has worked through all of the different things that have been happening in the last couple of years. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. It's been a long 9 years. I just wanted to say, see God in this, and don't see me, don't see my struggles, see how God can work in your life through your struggles, whether it be eating disorders or fitness or finding your identity in school or your job or whatever it may be. Be encouraged that if God did this for me, he can do it for you too. This is kind of a vulnerable story that I didn't think I would be sharing on YouTube, especially not as a fourth video, but it's a big thing that God has done for me, and I am feeling the weight of it a lot recently. So I just wanted to tell you guys about how I got to where I am today in terms of my mindset toward health and fitness and food. And I don't think it's entirely unique. I think this is a story that a lot of people have. I will just dive into it. So I think I started gaining weight when I was 5, right after my dad died. And growing up, I just always felt so fat. I was always made fun of in school. I was the chubby girl, and I would come home crying because the boys on the bus would make fun of me. I think the stress is what did it at first. So I was always just trapped in this mindset of I need to be skinny. So by the time I was in high school, I was in varsity show choir, and I was constantly surrounded by other girls who I thought were prettier than me or whatever, and I was convinced that if I could just lose weight, if I could just be thin like they're thin, then I could be pretty too. And I just wanted it so badly that I really wrestled with restrictive eating in high school. Maybe in middle school too, I don't know, but I would eat a packet of crackers for breakfast and one hard-boiled egg. For lunch, I would eat nothing, or maybe half of an entree, like one of the small, I don't know if you know how school lunches work, but you get an entree and 2 sides or 3 sides or however many, and the entrees were usually pretty small, and I would eat maybe half of it to tell people that I was going to eat more after school, and I just didn't really want to eat the school lunches. And then for dinner I would have a baked potato and radishes and carrots. And I was working out like crazy. I was constantly doing HIIT workouts. I was working out like crazy at school because our show choir did conditioning that was pretty heavy, and I just wanted it. And I remember when I finally started getting comments, it was so sweet to me. I was craving the affirmation of other people telling me that I looked the way that I thought they wanted me to look and the way that I wanted to look. And then my mom, being a mom, noticed what was happening. And I don't think I really even noticed what was happening, because I just thought that was how you lost weight. So I thought that just eating a ridiculously small amount of food and being disciplined and forcing yourself to starve and going to bed hungry was the way to lose weight. And I do think it is a way to lose weight, but it's not sustainable, and it's definitely not healthy mentally or physically. So that's when I really think God saved my life through veganism. Now I am no longer vegan, so take that with a grain of salt, but here's what I mean when I say that God saved my life through veganism. I saw it as a way to eat a substantial amount of food and not gain weight. And that wasn't totally true. I did, obviously, because I was starving myself, bounce back a little bit. That's how it works when you heavily restrict your calories. So after you've starved yourself, say you're eating 1,200 calories or less, or 1,600 calories or less, if we're being honest, your body sort of goes into starvation mode. And the second you start eating more than that, a normal amount of calories, it's going to compensate. So it's going to hold on to all of the extra fat, and not let go of it, basically. So you create this cycle of yo-yoing because you starve yourself and then you eat more calories and you gain weight. And it's just, that's why people yo-yo, in case you didn't know. So I went vegan, I gained a little bit of weight, and then I lost it. Probably because I was malnourished, though I didn't know that, because when I went vegan, I went raw till 4 vegan. And if you don't know what that is, it is basically only eating raw fruits and vegetables till 4 p.m. in the evening. So you eat 5 bananas for breakfast, 10 apples for lunch, and your dinner of potatoes. So all I was really getting in a day were carbs, and most of that came from fruit, sugar. So I was eating about 2,500 to 3,000 calories in a day, which is actually about right. That's what a normal average human needs to survive, especially if you're active and you're working out like I was. I was eating a lot. I was enjoying the food I was eating. I was really passionate about it. I was talking about it all the time. I felt like I had found the key to weight loss. It was 80-10-10, which is 80% of your calories come from carbs, 10% from fat, and 10% from protein. But I, already being totally prone to restriction and to obsession, took it to 95-5. 90% from carbs, 5% from fat, and 5% from protein, while eating 2,500 to 3,000 calories in a day. So I was definitely malnourished. I was not getting the nutrients that I needed. I was not getting any of those healthy fats. I lost my glow. I was never really feeling healthy. That's not true. Right at the beginning, I was feeling really healthy, but wasn't eating greens. I was only eating fruit and white starches. That's not a healthy diet. So yeah, I was happy. I felt like I was doing a good job. I felt like I was on my way to the perfect skinny body, and I wasn't. But I was eating, and that was better. Then I think it wasn't really until I went to college that I felt again like I had found the key. So in my senior year of high school, I had really slimmed down a lot. It was the only time in my life really that I remember feeling good about myself and feeling confident in my own skin, though I was malnourished. So I don't know. When I got to college, I found InterVarsity, which absolutely actually did save my life. Not food-wise or health-wise, but spiritually. I met people who I will love and cherish for the rest of my life. And one of them was my friend Anne, and she started taking me to the gym. So I started lifting, and I saw huge changes in my body, and I loved it. And I think that was the first time I really started implementing protein into my diet. I started drinking vegan protein powders because I was still vegan at that point, and was eating fake meats and other vegan junk foods that were just fake meats because they made me feel better because I needed protein. And I sort of started to finally click out of that raw tofu mentality, and all of a sudden I was eating oatmeal for breakfast rather than 5 bananas blended up in a smoothie. So things were heading in the right direction, and that definitely was God. But I was still so obsessed with this image and looking a particular way and feeling a particular way and feeling like other people could see me a particular way because I just really, really, really craved the affirmation from other people. And I wanted that more than I wanted to feel good. I wanted other people to think that I looked good more than I cared about feeling good myself. So I became very obsessed again. I was in the gym like 2.5 hours every day. I remember not leaving the gym until I couldn't walk because sorry, there's something in my eye. Anyway, I remember not leaving the gym ever, any day, until I couldn't walk anymore. Oh my gosh, it's still in my eye. And I remember so many days just crying and praying to God, like, please God, why won't something work? Why can't I lose this weight? Why can't I look like everyone else? I have let that rule me for years and years and years, and I gained a lot of weight right around the time when we got married, which was actually when I stopped being vegan. I went vegetarian, and I was eating a lot of dairy and a lot of other things. And I was hanging out with Nate and his family, and he and his little brother. It was a way for us to bond, eating ice cream, and it was just during that time I felt my body change, and I saw my body change, and I was devastated. I was just absolutely crushed. I felt so horrible about myself. I felt like I looked horrible. I felt horrible. I'm losing the daylight, so the lighting here is getting terrible. But I just always felt just awful. I was so consumed by what Nate would think about me, what other people would think about me, what I was going to look like on our wedding day, what I was going to look like after our wedding day, and I just hated it. It was all I could think about. And even after we got married, I felt that way. For months, it was all I could think about. I can't tell you how many times I have cried and cried to God because I was just so frustrated with everything. I wanted to stop thinking about it. I didn't want to have this preoccupation. I wanted it to be over. I didn't want to think about weight. I didn't want other people to think about my weight. I just wanted to be me. But I didn't really learn how to do that on my own. So it wasn't until a couple months ago that I recognized that I was feeling very ill. My stomach was just always, I think for years, it had been cramping, really struggling to digest food effectively. And my hair was falling out. Like, I know we all lose hair in the shower, but I was losing a lot of hair in the shower consistently for a couple of years. My nails were just snapping and chipping and splitting, and they had horrible ridges, and I realized that I was malnourished, which just seems like the silliest thing for someone who is so obsessed with health and fitness, who has done so much research. I could have a degree in nutrition, and I continued to let myself do the things that I was doing. So I started eating meat again, which is terrifying for me to say online because I was vegan for 6 or 7 years. And it just seems like this is not the place to be announcing that I am no longer vegan, but I was not healthy as a vegan. And I know that there are healthy ways to be a vegan, but I hadn't figured it out. And I couldn't afford it, especially after moving here. It is so much more expensive to be a vegan in the Dominican Republic. But all of a sudden I felt bombarded with this research of the microbiome in your gut that digests meat doesn't actually die off. It goes to sleep. So you just have to wake it back up by eating meat again. Who would have thought? Because I had been told over and over again that it dies, and you're never gonna get that back, and eating meat again is gonna be so painful, it's gonna wreck your system. That's not true at all. I was fine. In fact, 2 days later, I felt better. My stomach was no longer cramping. Things were fine. I felt vibrant again, and I think that's because I was getting nutrients that I wasn't getting elsewhere. So yeah, it's still in my eye. And another reason that I made that decision was because I had heard about orthorexia for the first time. If you haven't heard about orthorexia, it essentially is restriction in the same sense that anorexia is restriction, though they're just different types of restriction. So in anorexia, you're restricting your calories, and in orthorexia, you're restricting your food groups and the different types of food, and you're making food an enemy. That's what I had been doing for 7 years. And while veganism did save my life because I was eating food, I was still struggling with an eating disorder that I didn't realize I had. The reason I made the decision to eat meat again was because I felt very convicted by God that I couldn't heal from this. I couldn't come back from this without giving it to Him fully and agreeing that I had made a mistake, not necessarily in veganism, but in taking it into my own hands. So I think eating dairy was the first step toward fixing that problem, and eating meat was the next step. I don't want to say the final step, but definitely the next step in overcoming that. Yeah, I feel like I have been rambling, but basically I surrendered it to God and I said, I want to be healed of this. I want this to be over. I want to be able to come back from this. I don't want to be disordered anymore. I need to be healed physically and mentally. And so that's why I started eating meat again, because I just really felt Him whisper to me that if I wanted to be healed, I couldn't restrict anymore. Not like that. I am not naming any food group bad anymore, and I am working really hard. Well, not working. I'm allowing God to work really hard in me to heal these things, and He is. And I've seen that already. I am feeling so much better in my mind and in my body now that I have truly, I told you guys I was going to surrender 2020 to God, and I have. I've done that, and I feel like I'm holding 2020 with open hands, and I feel like that has led to me holding my health with open hands. I feel much better. I feel like I'm actually seeing progress for the first time. I feel like I am leaning out a little bit, which is a really cool byproduct of trusting the Lord. But I don't feel focused on that anymore. I really am focused on my health, and I'm focused on healing myself and finding balance in that. I'm actually eating a lot of food right now. I'm eating a lot of food, and I am listening to my body, and I'm eating whole, mostly plant-based foods with the addition of some meat, usually some dairy. And I feel better. I feel healthier. I feel like I finally have a glow back. Not that you can see right now because the lighting is terrible, but anyway, that's the story that I wanted to share with you about how God has brought me to where I am today, to where I'm not so focused on the things that are destructive, but I'm focused on Him, and really just giving that to Him and sacrificing it to Him and letting Him do what He will, because His way is best, and anything that He's gonna do for me is gonna be a million times better than what I would do for myself. So yeah, I've been talking for 23 minutes, so I think that it is time for me to go, but I thought that maybe that might be helpful for some of you, especially, maybe particularly the women. I know that it's something that a lot of us wrestle with and a lot of us deal with. So if I can give you any encouragement, it's that this has been 9 years coming, guys, and I feel like giving it to God was what I really needed to do. And I said I had done that over and over again, and I hadn't until recently. So if I could give you any advice and you're really wrestling with your health or wrestling with your body image or whatever it may be, or wrestling with your job or just life things in general, give it to God. Because like I said, He wants to do good for those who love Him, and the best thing you can do for your life is to give it to Him, because He's going to do more incredible things with it than you ever could. So that's what I have for you today. I'm sorry that I keep rambling. If you enjoyed this video and the short little vlog style, if you enjoyed this video, the vlog style that it was, give this video a thumbs up because it really does support our channel. Please leave a comment down below letting us know what you would like to see in a video next week. Subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell, because there will be some weeks where we upload 2 videos, so you won't want to miss those. And yeah, other than that, we are so excited to have you guys here with us, and we feel so blessed to have a base like you. Make sure you come back next week for our next video, and we can't wait to see you then. Bye!